our past president of the institution. Indeed, we think that it's taking too long for this conference to have taken place in Akosombo. Ladies and gentlemen, let me also admit that it's also, for me, indeed, a privilege, among other technical experts such as yourselves, to constitute engineering practice in Ghana. You have been the reason why Ghana is an income country. For us in VRA, the recognition that we can do better represents about 50% of what we think as engineers in this organization. To me, personally, the subject of engineering practice is very important, since good engineering practice can and should be a force for good to the society. The theme for 2019 conference, Engineering and Innovation, Catalyst for Ghana Beyond Aid, is appropriate and timely. It is significant in many respects, since it reflects what I consider to be contemporary thinking in Ghana. We in VRA, we have a similar slogan. We say VRA beyond the Ministry of Finance. We understand what we are saying. Mr. Chairman, I am confident that the technical sessions will bring out some of the significant innovations that, as a professional group, we have implemented over the years to support this country. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our firm belief that the Ghana Institution of Engineering must be a key player in fulfilling the vision of Ghana Beyond Aid. Engineering excellence and professionalism are required to keep industry running. In the same way, our electrical and telecom engineers should be concerned about the phenomenon of calling somebody next door only to be told that the person cannot be reached and the person is just next to you. We are also not very happy about the spate of road accidents that we are hearing or seeing in this country. I think in a way it goes against us as engineers. Okay? For us engineers, we are proud to have contributed to Ghana's development for Without Akosombo Power Project, which has provided a backbone for Ghana's development over the past 5 decades or 50 years. The economic growth of this country would have been a bit difficult. Ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, I wish to call on all of us here let me take it again. Ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, I wish to call on us together here to commit that never should it be said that our people, especially the rural folks, do not have access to electricity. We also want to secondly commit to modernize our infrastructure, to standardize we want to commit to modernize our infrastructure to standards that are comparable to what is pertaining in other developed countries. Lastly, let us commit to improve access to electricity in Ghana. Even though we have about 82% access, we think that we still have a lot of work to do to ensure that everybody in this country have access to electricity. Ladies and gentlemen, before I step off, please enjoy the good environment in this place. Akosombo is a nice town. There's a lot to see. There's a lot of recreational facilities around. So please take advantage of your presence here and enjoy VRA to the maximum. I wish you all a very successful conference, and may God help us. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Engineer Kofi Ellis, Deputy CEO of the Volta River Authority in charge of services. Ghana Institution of Engineering, one thing we pride ourselves in is we respect those who have gone ahead of us very much. So at our programs, we want to see them. So we want to, our president is here. He has already given us a welcome address. We want to acknowledge our president again. Our president, we want to, thank you. Then we have our immediate past president over here, and incoming president of Federation of African Engineering Organizations. Another round of applause for Engineer Kalien Bushedij. And then, if there's something like immediate past, we have Engineer Dr. Kwame Boachi, one of our past presidents. I always enjoy introducing him. You know, we went to the same secondary school, and he was 25 years my senior. So, next to him is Engineer Frederick Asare-Yeboah, also one of our past presidents. Engineer Asare-Yeboah, we want to see you. The two of them were classmates, so he's also 25 years my senior. Oh, they say I'm a small boy, but I have more than 20 years experience. So since I'm not a small boy, it looks like they are Asians. Next, we have Engineer Albert Aye Ojiri, who is also one of our past presidents. Let's acknowledge his presence. In fact, he inspired me a lot in many ways. A lot of the things I have done as an engineer, it is because I heard from him right from when I was in school, and I learned a lot from him to help me to become what I have become. I always say the first time I voted, you know, in our institution, we don't like voting. This year, the voting is going to be mega. But usually 200, 300 people vote. We all get the thing as, should I vote, should I not vote? But I was inspired to vote when he stood for president for the first time. Yes, sir. He's the CEO of ABP Consult, and his deputy is also our past president, Engineer Kweku Bwampong. And then their colleague, Engineer Se Akwabwa. And then Engineer Aturite, another of our past presidents. Let's give all our past presidents another big round of applause. Okay, so to continue, I want to invite Engineer Kwabena Ejepong, Executive Director, West Africa Federation of Engineering Organizations, Executive Director, Ghana Institution of Engineering.
Well, I wish to acknowledge our international delegates and the President of the Federation of African Engineering Organizations is here. Let's acknowledge President Manua Martin from Zimbabwe. And just behind him, my boss at the West African Federation, Engineer Otis Aniaji, His Royal Highness. The Royal Highness is waving his staff. The President of Sierra Leonean Institution of Engineers, Professor Sawyer. I can also see the President of Nigerian Society of Engineers, Engineer Mokolu. And where are representatives from Zambia, Mulusa. And there are quite a number of, I think the chairman of the Engineering Council of Nigeria is here, or is not here. But Sunday, the vice president of Nigerian Society of Engineers is here. Deputy president. And then past presidents, there are two past presidents for Nigeria, Engineer Noah. More than two. 4 past presidents. Can you be upstanding? We still are expecting the president from Rwanda, who is on his way, and Uganda, and the Executive Director of Sierra Leone, Oba Jones, my good friend. Thank you very much. Engineer Harold.
The Nigerians say they are challenging us. They've come here, and they are not 4 past presidents, they are 5 past presidents. But you must understand that you're in our territory. So our past presidents are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Next time when we are coming to Niger, we'll also come in a very powerful delegation to face you squarely. Thank you very much. We want to invite the president of FAIO, Engineer Martin Manua, to give us fraternal greetings. Let's put our hands together for him as he comes.
Thank you, and a very good morning. Your Excellencies, the Deputy Ministers, the President of the Ghana Institution of Engineers, your past presidents, your council, your executive director, staff, the presidents of the region of FAIO, national member here present, and the president-elect of the Federation, Madam, and all protocols observed. I've been asked to give the fraternal greeting from FAO, but since celebrating a very important 50-year anniversary, I am going to do more than that. I will carry the message from FAO and carry the message from the support that is very evident here from the region to see where are we going as Africa. Your theme, Africa, your theme is not only relevant for Ghana, but for Africa. Aid has been one of the, can I call it this catalyst that has not made us develop, because we would be like begging and making our bowl bigger and bigger every day. There are a lot of economic theories which disapprove that aid will never help Africa and any other country develop. As engineers, we are more than catalytic to the economic development of our country. As such, we need to work with our government and our development partners as equal partners to develop our continent. As such, our message to governments in Africa, I'll do this before the greetings, is that we like working with other engineers from other countries. Yes, that's very good. But we are not happy to see them do all the work in our countries. We would like to have what we call a local and national signature in our engineering infrastructure development. As such, we would like work for local engineers to be accorded for engineers to develop their countries. So it is very, very important that we must have development models that recognize indigenous knowledge systems, that recognize local capacity and local content in the development of our continent. So that's the initial message that I want to carry to you. Before that, let me just give some context to the organization that we are coming from. We are the Federation of the African Engineering Organizations, which is an organization comprising of all the national members of institutions in Africa. And we also belong to the World Federation of Engineers, WFEO, which was formed in 1968 and is the voice of 70 million engineers in the world. So as FAO, we have a dream. We are the only international engineering organization representing Africa. Gone. Okay. And as such, we would like to ensure that we have an impact as FAO in the development of our countries. We want to be the catalyst. and ensure that we do not rely on aid and any other benevolences for our development. FAO is a non-governmental organization which represents the interests of engineering in Africa, and its secretariat is in Nigeria, in Abuja. Our executive director is here with us, and our national and regional members are also present to support your celebrations. We celebrate diversity and inclusivity in FAO. And as such, we are looking forward as we harness the fourth industrial revolution, which we hope is a dream for Africa because of our young population. We hope that we're going to carry forward the International Women's Day theme for this year, which said that better the balance and better the world for our success, because 50% of the world's population are not participating fully in technology. So we are for the girl child to take up science, maths, and eventually engineering, so that half of the population of the world can also contribute to development. And we do this practically. You have heard already, our president-elect, Madame Kalen, is female and is a trailblazer, and 33% of our staff, we have a very lean complement, 33% is also female. We hope to reach 50%. So like this year's theme, better the balance and better the world. So we are working on diversity and inclusivity, and we also are encouraging young people to take maths and science so that they can become future engineers. The figures speak for themselves. For instance, Sub-Saharan Africa is 700 citizens to one engineer, against Germany's 150. The story can tell itself, against China's 220, against Brazil's 250. So we are far, far, far off. We need then to increase the numbers. It's a numbers game. For us to develop, we need to ensure that we have enough engineering cadres to do the work. FAO also has several committees which we want you guys to take part in. We have engineering capacity building, which is hosted by South Africa, and this is also hosted at the world stage by South Africa. We have 3 committees at the World Federation of Engineers, which are FAO committees, which is also a great recognition for Africa's engineering capacity. So we always wonder when the work share, when we don't get enough work share, when we are recognized internationally. So it's something that our governments need to think about in terms of domestic signature and regional signatures by local engineers in their projects. We also have Women in Engineering, hosted by Nigeria, and the Anti-Corruption Committee, hosted by Zimbabwe. These are also committees at the world stage, at the World Federation. Young engineers and future engineers are hosted in FAO by Kenya. They still have to be very active. That's our dream. And also, we act to have some other committees like engineering and innovative technologies, and Rwanda is still preparing their papers to see if they are able to have a hosting capacity from our executive council. We also have other committees like water, energy, engineering, education, which are still up for grabs by other countries. So this is our vision. Africa needs a plan, and we are going to work alongside the Africa Union. We have an agreement with them, a memorandum of understanding with AU, and under this, our president-elect and her team are going to develop what we are going to call the Engineering 2063 plan for Africa. All of you will be able to contribute into it, but basically our strategic initiative is to address the gap in engineering capacity and the quality of engineering professionals in the country, in the continent. You can see that it's good enough to have the numbers, but what really matters in engineering is the quality. So we need standards. And to this end, we also need to be accredited with the International Engineering Alliance, so that our degrees are recognized internationally under the Washington Accord, and also our technologists under the Dublin and Sydney Accord, which is also for the technicians. And we are working very hard that our engineering education standards improve, and such will we have many countries, including Ghana, also accredited by these international institutions. So the 2063 plan will have several other deliverables, like encouraging young people to consider engineering as a career, and also looking at the graduate outcomes, which is the standard of education that we have in the continent, so that it matches with the best in the world. Again, we need to agree these standards and outcomes with educators, the universities, with the government, and with industry. Again, we are looking into this plan to look at capacity building, and then have several professional development pathways so that graduates meet the employer needs. And also we are going to support the national policies and international policies to develop Africa. Hence, your theme today is very, very relevant. We work with the AU in their policies, the STISA, the SESA, the STISA for infrastructure, and also STESA for education, and ensure that we can consummate our memorandum of agreement with the international parties. African infrastructure opportunities are huge. 70% of all construction is going to take place in Africa. Therefore, we must guard this jealously. Infrastructure deficit is about 1.5 trillion US dollars in Africa. This is huge and massive, and it can tell you all the world is watching us. And I can quote and unquote President Bill Clinton in 2010 when he said, the huge opportunities in Africa for non-Africans, but the only way to make it work, and the only ethical appropriate way to make it work, is to create opportunities for Africans. He observed that there are huge opportunities for non-Africans. And he ethically is saying it is not right. So the only way to make it work is to create opportunities for Africans, which are the engineers seated in this room and elsewhere. So it's very, very important that we take this message seriously to our governments and ensure that we as engineers, we believe that engineering, science, technology, innovation can be the panacea to Africa's problem. So we need to ensure that we assist the decision makers from all levels of society to ensure a sustainable world for all. We hope that a lot of engineers take up responsibilities in decision making, in boards, in cabinet. I think the cabinet of China is overpopulated with engineers. The cabinet of Brazil and many other countries that are moving very fast. Yes, we work with other professionals, with lawyers, with the economists, but we are saying that we would need a proportion of engineers in decision positions. Finally, we as FAO are working for sustainable development, and we are looking at all the 17 sustainable development goals. We are assisting the AU and our governments to ensure that these United Nations goals are met. And each of those goals require engineering. This was actually emphasized during our Congress in London by Mr. Engineer Antonio Guterres, who said we will not achieve any of those goals without engineering. So it's very, very important that as an enabler, as a catalyst, we must deliver the impact as African engineers. So with this, and last part for ethical behavior by engineers, we need to end the respect. Therefore, we must have a code of professional conduct that we respect, a code of ethics that we respect. We also need to be, as engineers, behave ethical so that we gain the respect in the society that is expecting us to deliver the infrastructure. We'll get the best of our ability and skills. We therefore recommend that we should involve engineers in decision-making positions. And we should also share effective engineering capacity building models within and across nations. We should share. This conference is a very good example. For instance, I just wanted to say this first, where I come from, we have just had a serious cyclone, a disaster, Idai. And Idai has left a trail of destruction, which needs engineers and many other policymakers to rebuild. We have lost, I think, between Mozambique and Zimbabwe, close to 3,000 people, and the destruction is massive. Roads, bridges, livelihoods, all destroyed, and all this needs solidarity, networks across nations, and also disaster prevention and reduction thinking by governments, by civil society, and also engineering institutions. So we pray for the victims, and we say in future, FAO will have a disaster risk management committee that would assist governments with policy making, information, and also an engineering corps to assist where possible. For we believe, like Albert Einstein, that no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. So we need to continuously develop ourselves. I thank you.
Thank you very much, FAO President. And on this note, we want to take a minute silence for the 3,000 who were lost in the Hurricane Idai. A minute silence. Okay, so I've been also alerted. We had our president mentioned it. We had very serious accidents last week Friday, where we lost about 70 people on our roads just last week Friday. So may we remain standing for another minute silence for those who lost their lives. Two gruesome accidents, one on the Kintapo Road, one on the Cape Coast Road. Another minute silence for them as well. May their souls rest in peace. Shall we please take our seats? The next time we are having a FAO meeting, next time we're having a conference, in 2 years' time, when the FAO president is going to speak, it will be our own engineer, Mrs. Kalen Bushidid, who will be speaking. I think we have to give her another big round of applause. Her work is being already cut out for her, some of the things which she will be doing and all of that. And importantly, the women in Ghana are already ready to support. And we are in our special dress today. Women in engineering celebrating 20 years from 1999 to date. All women in engineering. We want to see you in your resplendent attire. Let's be up on our feet as we acknowledge there are 5 of us in addition to them. If you look to the right, you can see it's over there, 20 years of wine. They are rebranding. They are coming out in a big way to help us. In fact, to lead us. That's what they told me. So not to help us. To lead us in what we do as an institution. Let's give wine another big round of applause. We want to also invite the president of FAO, President of WAFIO, Engineer Chief Otis, His Royal Highness Engineer Chief Otis Ani Aji. Let's put our hand. In fact, this one we have to stand up because His Royal Highness is coming. Let's put our hands together for him as he comes. Igwe.
Thank you, the Master of Ceremonies, the President, Ghana Institution of Engineering, President Steve Yankson, the President, Federation of African Engineering Organizations, Engineer Martin Manuel, the past presidents, Ghana Institution of Engineering, many of them, the past president, Federation of African Engineering Organization, Engineer M.B. Shehu, and of course, the person with the very long CV, the president-elect of the Federation of African Engineering Organizations. You know, the MC said it has many firsts. The first female president of the Ghana Institution of Engineers and also engineering. The first president-elect of FAO, and a person who is so spiritual that really is compliant with the biblical injunction that the first shall be last. Is also the last president of the Ghana Institution of Engineers. I have my own president here too, President Adekunle Mokolu. When I say my own president, that's Nigerian Society of Engineers. I have also president of the Sierra Leone Institution of Engineers, Professor Redwood Sawyer. And I will seize this opportunity to make the correction properly, because it was initially said there were 4 past presidents from Nigerian Society of Engineers, and I took it that they discounted me. I am also a past president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, so there are 5 of us. Well, I will introduce my General Secretary. So I think I am in a position to rule definitively on whether you are a double ED or a single ED. And I think you are EDGHIE and SG or GS. WAFIO, as the General Secretary of WAFIO. I'm really so glad to be here to witness this momentous event of the conference to mark the 50th anniversary of GHIE and the 20th anniversary of wine. And you have made it in colors. I was just telling my colleague that last year we did 60th in Nigeria, but we forgot to make colors. And we agreed that we are going to appeal to our president when we go back that we should not allow ourselves to be outdone in this beautiful, resplendent African creativity. WAFIO, of course, is a sub-regional organization subordinate to the Federation of African Engineering Organizations. And we took off right here 2012 in Ghana. And we have our secretariat also here in Accra. We have carried on to really properly establish the organization here. We did our constitution, got it established according to the laws of Ghana. And we have proceeded to really organize workshops according to the basic objectives of the Federation. And these are some of the things the president of FAO had talked about. Harmonization of standards in all sectors. We had started last year here in Ghana too on a workshop for the harmonization of technical standards in telecoms. We carried on with that also in Nigeria in November, where we added the technical workshops on the harmonization of standards in energy. This afternoon after lunch, we are going to be listening to experts talk to us about the harmonization of engineering standards and engineering education standards. And the presentations will be led by Professor Redwood Sawyer of Sierra Leone, and promises to be quite productive. So, fortunately, I think it is a plenary, and so everybody will be privileged to be present. I urge that we also all participate so that we get the best out of that. Education, engineering education is the foundation of all the things that the president of FAO was urging for. And we ought to take that all too seriously. Later in the year, we are hoping to have a workshop jointly with the West African Power Pool on the harmonization of electrical standards. We're also working with the Petroleum Corporation in Nigeria to have another workshop with the West African Gas Pipeline to deal with standards on gas. So we will do all that before the conference in Nigeria, where we will take up all these issues again. I hope, as last year, the president will help give us sufficient facilities and slots to accommodate all the various standards we have started work on. And we hope that in the years to come, these things will be taken up very seriously, because these are the really what gives one custody and possession of the profession. If you are in charge of the standards of a particular sector, then you are in charge of that sector. And when that happens, I believe that most of these standards will end up with sections that will clearly say that performing these things according to those standards, you need certain qualifications and experience that, of course, are endorsed by these national institutions, the regional, the sub-regional institutions, and the regional institution. On this note, I thank the Ghana Institution of Engineers for bringing us together and organizing what promises to be a very successful and productive conference. Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you, His Royal Highness. like I said at the beginning, this year, as part of our conference, we are having our elections as well, which will be ending on Friday at 10 a.m. We want to acknowledge the presence of the 3 presidents-elect. Those who are contesting to be president-elect. We want to recognize your presence if you're here. Please remain. Okay, please. They said you should come forward, so we can see you. Okay. So we have Engineer Ludwig Hesse, Engineer Reverend Dr. Charles Adams, and then Engineer. Engineer Theo Ni Okai. Engineer Theo Ni Okai. Engineer Edie, I'm being intimidated by the past presidents that they should talk for 2 minutes each. Is it allowed or not? Edie says no. Edie has said, Edie and President say no. So please, these are the candidates. For me, they are all my senior colleagues. I have worked with all of them in different capacities before. And I have learned from all of them. And whichever one of them wins, I'm standing alone as vice president. So I don't have to campaign. Whichever one of them wins, I'll work with the person. So I pledge to support you, whichever one of you wins. So to all of you, please, whichever vote you vote, it is a wise vote. Yeah, so vote wisely. And we'll have our new president taking over in 2 years' time. Engineer Ludwig Hesse, thank you very much. Engineer Charles Adams, thank you very much. Engineer Theo Ni Okai, thank you very much. Next, we are launching, as part of this opening ceremony, we are launching the 20th anniversary of Women in Engineering. So we'll have a speech by a representative of the president. Unfortunately, her deputy minister is here. Minister has sent her to Cotonou. She really wanted to be here, but she couldn't make it. She's in the person of Rita Pinkra Ohene Safo. Wine is 20 years old. She has been the president for 12 years. She's handing over finally this year. She's not here herself, so we'll invite Engineer Mrs. Ifwa Efa to read a speech for Wine on her behalf. Oh, let's put our hands together for Wine. Let's put our hands together. Let's do it better. Let's do it better. Let's do it better.
Our guest of honor, the Deputy Minister of Railway Development, Honorable Andy Appiah-Kubi, representing the Senior Minister. Ministers of State herein gathered, distinguished foreign dignitaries and delegates, the President of the Ghana Institution of Engineering, the Executive Director, Council, and members of the Institution of Engineering, representatives of women groups in engineering, distinguished special invited guests, colleague members of Women in Engineering, pressmen and women, ladies and gentlemen. I read this on behalf of the President of Women in Engineering Ghana, Engineer Mrs. Rita Ohene Safo, whose shoes are really big indeed for me to stand in today. She is on a statutory assignment outside the country, and she expresses her sincere apologies to you all. Honorable Chairman, I deem it an honor to address you during this occasion of the 20th anniversary of the launch of the Women in Engineering Ghana. To some of you, this event marks the beginning of a 20-year story that began with very humble beginnings. It is an occasion to look back 20 years, reflect, celebrate our achievements, and strategize to achieve greater results by contributing positively towards the development of our dear country, Ghana. Who are we? WINE Ghana is a network of Ghanaian women engineering practitioners and student members within the Ghana Institution of Engineering. The association was formed 2 decades ago through the vision and support of the 30th President of the Ghana Institution of Engineering, Engineer Professor K.A. Andam of blessed memory. The group, which started with a membership of less than 1% female engineers in proportion to our male counterparts in the year 2000, can presently boast of a membership of approximately 7%, which is about 1,000 female engineers. Our first president, and she was the sole executive of WINE from 1999 to 2007, was Engineer Mrs. Harriet Emisa Arthur. She managed to single-handedly mobilize the then relatively small number of female engineers who have today become our icons. We celebrate Engineer Mrs. Harriet Emisa Arthur for building the foundation of this association, for which reason a lot more ladies, including myself, have been nurtured into engineering. The second and current president of WINE, in whose big shoes I stand today, is Engineer Mrs. Rita Ohinesafo. She took over the presidency in 2007, 8 years after the service of the first president. She has been the president of WINE for the past 12 years, up to today. She, with selfless dedication and quest to motivate young ladies into the field of engineering, initiated mentorship programs and the annual WINE Forum as part of the GHI Week celebrations. She has organized 8 of such forums in Accra, Kumasi, Tamale, Takoradi, Sunyani, and Takwa. May I add, Mr. Chairman, that our presidents may not have received all the support and participation all the time from the members, but we can judge from the length of the presidency of our leaders that WINE is really a rare group of women where there is no bickering and opposition to authority. We therefore celebrate Engineer Mrs. Rita Ohinesafo for her long and dedicated service to WINE Ghana. Without her, we may not have come this far. Madam, we acknowledge you. WINE Ghana is currently a member of Women in Engineering International of the World Federation of Engineering Organizations and serve on the WFEO Subcommittee on Environment as well. WINE is also one of the few active female engineering groups under the Federation of African Organizations. What do? Our primary role is in advocacy, a cause that seeks to acknowledge, promote, and support the enrollment of more females into engineering programs. We advocate for a more decisive approach in the formulation and implementation of policies and other factors that affect the practice of engineering in Ghana. We have done this over the years through promoting science, technology, and mathematics with focus on engineering in junior and secondary high schools. This includes mobilizing directly and facilitating financial support for needy but brilliant girls to pursue tertiary education in engineering. Mr. Chairman, we are proud to mention a few of such achievements. The first is a lady by name Elizabeth Ameke. Lizzie, as we call her, was supported by the Equia Kwenyehia Foundation up to secondary high level. The foundation approached WINE when she gained admission to read Bachelor of Science in Aerospace Engineering at the KNUST. To cut a long story short, Mr. Chairman, Lizzie, who is in her final semester, will be graduating with first-class honors by the end of this academic year. Lizzie's hope to become a pilot has already started looking for schools to pursue her ambition after her bachelor's degree in a few months. We invite you to collaborate with WINE to support her, Miss Elizabeth Ameke, financially to achieve her dream. Ladies and gentlemen, WINE supported the first year of Miss Jane Hiame, who together with her twin sister, Janet Hiame, gained admission as fee-paying students to read petrochemical engineering and building technology respectively at the KNUST. WINE facilitated in getting both of them a scholarship from the Ghana National Petroleum Commission after the first year to further the remaining years in the university. We want to take this opportunity to thank the GNPC for their support. Honorable Chairman, WINE Ghana can boast of distinguished female engineers who have cracked the ceiling in their practice and made this anniversary worthwhile. Among this list include Engineer Sylvia Arthur, the first Ghanaian female to pursue engineering in Ghana. She is currently a private consultant and a fellow of the Ghana Institution of Engineering. We acknowledge Engineer Victoria Beko, the first female electrical engineer to work with the then ECG, now PDS. She is also in private practice currently and a fellow of the Ghana Institution of Engineering. Engineer Charlotte Engman is also a private consultant, and she is also a fellow of the institution. We mentioned Engineer Gloria Penkwa, who is currently the project manager with the Ghana Airports Company Limited, and she is also a fellow of the Ghana Institution of Engineering. We acknowledge the contribution of Engineer Safiratu Andani, Regional Director, Community Water and Sanitation Agency. She is also a fellow of this institution. We mentioned our famous twin civil engineers, Engineer Mrs. May Obriyabwa and Engineer Mrs. Mabel Amuakwata, who are both fellows of this institution. Engineer Mrs. May Obriyabwa is the Executive Director of the National Road Safety Commission, and Engineer Mrs. Mabel Amuakwata is a Director at the Office of the Head of Local Government Service. Mr. Chairman, I'm honored to mention to you that the first female Executive Secretary of the Ghana Institution of Engineering, who became the first female President of the Ghana Institution of Engineering, and currently the first female President-elect of the Federation of African Engineering Organizations, Engineer Carlin Bushidid, is also one of our very own. These, among many, are the iconic female engineers who have inspired us, contributed to the practice of engineering, and the promotion of girl child. We define our core values with the acronym PIN, P-I-N, meaning we are proactive, insightful, and we nurture. Proactive meaning we are bold and active achievers. Insightful, we are discerning in our activities, and we nurture. And in nurture, we are referring to our ability to nurture projects and developments to inspire. Having stated our vision and mission, WINE needs a new identity to represent all that we aspire to achieve. We have retouched our logo by retaining the iconic spider web from GHIE, and rightly so, as the spider is seen as a creative force which weaves the designs of life and faith. An expression of innovation and assertiveness and the connection between past and future. The spider's web symbolizes the tying together of loose ideas into a tiny package. It represents one's deepest wisdom and ability to nurture a sense of connection, creativity, and integration at all levels. Ultimately, the spider's web reminds us that the world is all woven around us. Hence, we should use our creativity, knowledge, and resources to ensure we maintain balance. Balance between past and future, male and female, spiritual and physical, teaching us that everything we do and experience now is connected to what we will encounter in the future. We also have developed a new website, and our online address now is www.wineghana.com. We are social, so ladies and gentlemen, connect, like, follow, and interact with us on Facebook and Twitter at Wine Ghana. We have a brand and communications plan and a year-long celebration calendar. The calendar outlines the activities to be undertaken this year, which includes rebranding of wine and creating its awareness, organizing an educational forum with stakeholders in the educational sector, workshops to build our capacities in mentoring and role modeling, partnering with Millennium Development Authority in implementing the one-on-one mentoring program with female students offering engineering and other science, technology, and mathematics-related courses. We also intend to implement a project in improving sanitation in the country. Our appreciation. Honorable Chairman, in line with the theme for this week's celebration, Engineering and Innovation, Catalyst to Ghana Beyond Aid, Wine has also repositioned itself as a strategic partner to bring female engineers to the forefront of innovation and technology. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, Wine Ghana extends its sincerest appreciation to you all for supporting our agenda. We express our gratitude to all past presidents of GHIE, especially past presidents Engineer Ojiri and Engineer Dr. Boachi, who are our patrons. We thank our past executive secretaries, Engineer Kalim Bushidid, who is one of our own, Engineer Baxton, and Engineer Isandro. We thank you, Engineer Harold Eseku. We actually refer to him as Miss Wine. And he says he has a curly hair. Engineer Harold Eseku has promoted and attended all our activities since his assumption of duty as Conference Committee Chair of GHI. Engineer, Wine salutes you. Our special thanks to the Executive Director, Engineer Kobina Eje Ejapong, Engineer Kalim Bushidid, and Engineer Harriet Emisa Arthur, who has supported us immensely on this 20th anniversary launch and rebranding. We most especially thank God Almighty for bringing us this far. Long live Ghana, long live GHIE, long live Wine. Wine at 20, inspiring to impact. Thank you all.
Wine at 20, inspiring to impact. Let's say it together with our women. Wine at 20, inspiring to impact. Thank you very much. We want to recognize Engineer Harriet Emisa Arthur, the first president of Wine. She's here herself. We want to recognize her presence. President for 8 years, and that firm. Next, we have Wine at 20. Special. You know, when women do everything, it is different and it is grand. So the cameramen, you are causing an eclipse of the way. The women are bringing something to us, so we have to move out of the way. They are bringing something to us. And when they come forward, all women will come forward and join. If you are a woman and you are not dressed like me, you are not invited. We want to invite all members of WINE to come forward together with the patrons. The patrons of WINE will join. WINE members, you are welcome. WINE members, please come. Join us in front. Yes. Okay. Honorable Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways and MP for Ejuso. He's a civil engineer. He's joining us to cut the cake. Honorable Kwabna Owusu Eduomi. Oh, let's put our hands together. Honorable Deputy Minister. Oh, WINE members, please. There's space here. There's space here. Some should come over here. So, Honorable Deputy Minister, please come between Engineer Kallen and Engineer Harriet. Please, whilst they are getting ready, someone with a car number GS229111. You didn't pull your handbrake. The car is moving gradually. The slope isn't much. By now, it would have caused an accident. So if your car number is GS229111, please go to your car and pull your handbrake properly. Thank you very much. Aren't we impressed with the number of WINE members we have over here? Oh, WINE deserves another big round of applause. They are getting ready to light something over here. Okay, I've been told that other deputy minister here, deputy minister for railways, we didn't invite him because he's not an engineer. In his next life, he shouldn't come as a lawyer. He should come as an engineer. And he will join us to cut the cake. Okay, so engineer, lawyer Andy Ampiakubi, please, you can join them to cut the cake. WINE. 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 Thank you very much. There is a fear of mathematics. And what has been happening is, as they go around and then they talk to those at the basic level, they help them to remove that artificial barrier which prevents them from having a love for mathematics, and that creating the environment for them to study science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Not just engineering, but everything STEM, and a lot of them end up in engineering as well. And one of the things they say is that we must encourage the young people. We have a challenge, I don't know if it pertains in the other West African countries, but you have people saying that, oh, as for maths, it's difficult. You are sitting in the car with your children, and you said, oh, as for maths, me when I was in school, maths, it's only by God's grace that I managed to get a 6 to pass. When we say those things, the children, especially the females, automatically feel that it is difficult. If my mother couldn't do it, and even if my father struggled, how can I do it? The last time, when we held the infrastructure meeting, we told the Honorable Minister for Railway Development, Honorable Jogate, that in his next life he should come as an engineer so that he can become like us. Somebody said, let me add this one, that, we've been told that the cabinet in China is made up of about 75% engineers. In the same period, the cabinet in the United States became 80% lawyers. The results are clear. The results are there for everybody to see. And that is what is happening in our country, Ghana, today. We talk and we talk and we talk and we talk and we talk. My wife is a lawyer. She's not here, so I think I'm covered. If I say this in another setting, I'm sure I'll be in trouble. Please, the engineer lawyers are pointing at me. I hope I'm safe. The representative of the senior minister is almost here. We were waiting for him to come and deliver the speech on behalf of the senior minister. His motorcade is coming. In fact, Honorable Ghana Institution of Engineering, 2 years ago in Sunyani, he came and inspired us with his life story, how his engineering practice impacted on everything he did, including when he became the Minister for Finance. And I remember one of the stories he shared with his background as an engineer. When he became Minister for Finance, there were lots of people who were there were a lot of claims from contractors for work which he wasn't sure whether had been done or not. So he managed to get a young expatriate man to sit over there and say that go and check the claims with the man. Immediately the people go and they see the expatriate, then they decide that it's okay. Another short story he shared with us. Okay, so we are now watching some of the major engineering feats which have been achieved in Ghana. So we'll take, please, we'll like volume so that we can see it. Can we have...
about sanitation, and it's down to providing solid engineering solutions.
We are committed to supporting and advancing the public good here in Ghana and anywhere we may find ourselves. We strive to support the engineering profession, encourage continuous professional development through conferences, workshops, training sessions, and other technical presentations. Through these platforms, colleagues meet to exchange ideas and thoughts and have vigorous discussions about the profession. For decades, GHIE has been the recognized expert and advocate for the responsible and sustainable development of the engineering profession. Our members are committed to applying their expertise in a safe and environmentally sound manner. GHIE has been a leader in incorporating the concepts of sustainable development into public policy debates. Policymakers need reliable and accurate information, and one of the best sources of this is the Infrastructure Report Card, produced by the GHIE, which provides the necessary information to properly frame the infrastructural health of this nation.
At the Ghana Institution of Engineering, our vision is to promote and sustain the practice of quality engineering
in Ghana.
GHIE is a trusted source of information and expertise in the area of our nation's infrastructure. GHIE will continue to be the flagship of innovation and leadership for generations to come. GHIE, we facilitate the development and promotion of sound engineering practice in Ghana.
Engineering enables the development of societies and economies throughout human history and acts as an inexhaustible driving force for the progress of civilization. Engineering wonders are significant symbols of human history. The Industrial Revolution transformed our world from an agricultural economy into an industrial one. Every major breakthrough in engineering has significantly elevated productivity and profoundly improved human lives. Engineering facilitates fast travel and communication between hither to distant places. Therefore, we are all part of the global village. The World Federation of Engineering Organizations, or WFEO, was established in 1968 under the support and initiative of UNESCO. It brings together more than 30 million engineers from over 100 nations. For 50 years, WFEO has relentlessly promoted international engineering cooperation, a key force for the progress of the modern world. Nowadays, engineering innovations are developing rapidly. However, we're still facing global challenges such as energy shortage, environmental pollution, natural disaster, climate change, hunger and poverty, resources exhausting and diminishing of biodiversity. It is the mission responsibility of engineers around the world to address those challenges. Technological innovations are driving new industrial revolution. The progress and innovation of engineering will become an important means of progressing society and modern life. There will be a series of major innovations in such fields as energy, environment, materials, biology, agriculture, information and communication, manufacturing, construction, space utilization, and marine resources, transportation, social services. It lies in the hands of engineers to develop appropriate technologies and resources to promote the quality of the human lives and achieve a shared, sustainable future. The World Federation of Engineering Organizations will continue its leadership and influence in the field of international engineering and make unrelenting efforts to build a better, sustainable world for us all.
Engineering shaping sustainable future, a shared future of humankind.
Thank you very much. Since the representative of the Honorable Senior Minister, Engineer Yaw Osafo-Maafo, is not present here yet, we would like to invite the Honorable Deputy Minister for Railway Development and MP for Asante Achim North. He's in the person of lawyer Andy Apiakubi. Let's put our hands together for him as he comes. Thankfully, I'll not meet him in court.
Thank you very much, moderator. I crave your indulgence to divert a bit from the prepared speech. How I wish I had opportunity to interact with you without making reference to the prepared speech. Unfortunately, I'm standing in for the senior minister. I'm sure I shouldn't have been the person standing before you, but I have a story to share with you. And I was one of your resource persons in the year 2017. And on that occasion, I challenged members of this organization to participate in the projects that we are running in respect of the Railway Ghana project. And incidentally, in spite of my teasing, I had the least representation from the membership of this association, but at least I'm happy to announce that one of your membership is part of the project, and I want to commend ABP Consult as having won to participate in the central line as a transaction advisors. Nevertheless, that was even upon my prompting, inviting them to participate. I say this not for any reason, but to encourage you to participate even the more. And pursuant to their participation and winning, I'm sure most of you will also be encouraged. What we couldn't do at inception level, we are trying to do at contracting level. And that is what I suggest that we invite you to support us in formulating the laws in respect of local content. In fact, the bill is currently in Parliament, and I invite the association to throw your weight behind us to pass the law. Indeed, notwithstanding the absence of the law, in my ministry, and I happen to be part of the negotiating team always, we're trying to negotiate into all contracts the local content provisions to ensure that we have Ghanaian presence in all the projects through contracting. So it's our view that all the participants coming into the project will have to establish at least 30% local content in respect of technical proposals. At another forum, maybe we will discuss the projects. But for now, my simpler invitation is to read the script from the senior minister. The president of the Ghana Institute of Engineering, and indeed, let me sound a warning. When I had a call last night from my minister to represent him in this meeting, I told him, yes, a beautiful opportunity for me to relive 2017 and to repose the challenge. So my thought was to come here and discuss my project under the ministry, only for me to be called upon to this very difficult assignment. But warriors never wait for commissioning. So I will try to do some justice. And I'm happy also to announce that Harriet was my mate in the business school, so I'm comfortable meeting Harriet again in this meeting. President of the Ghana Institute of Engineering, past president of the institution, council members of the institution, representatives of engineering organizations from Nigeria, Rwanda, and other parts of Africa, the president of the African Institute of Engineers, executives and officials of the other professional bodies so present, distinguished invited guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, I deem it a great honor to be invited, and this is Mr. Osafo-Maafo's words. So I couldn't be deeming. I deem it a great honor to be invited to give the keynote address at the 2019 conference of the Ghana Institute of Engineering. 50 years in the life of any organization is no mean achievement. The theme of the conference is very relevant and appropriate, and it shows the commitment of the institution to the national agenda set by His Excellency, the President of Ghana, on Ghana Beyond AIDS, and the theme being Engineering and Innovation, Catalyst to Ghana and Beyond AIDS. Innovation is critical in the day and age where the technological advancements are making life easy for many and complex for those who are left behind. As we all know, we are classified as a low middle income country. We are looking at self-reliance to move our nation forward. This cannot be done without engineers helping to build the nation. A common sense approach to engineering using innovative strategies to engineer the development of this country will go a long way to help us with the various initiatives government has been undertaking. The development of this country since independence could not have happened without our engineers. 62 years cannot be recounted without reference to the engineering achievements we have chalked. We have had Ghanaian engineers working on major projects in the country and beyond. As we work towards achieving our vision of Ghana Beyond AIDS, we as a government expect to see our engineers taking a front seat in all interventions. We want to ensure here there is local content in all our projects. Even when our development partners insist on international competitive bidding, we want to ensure that there are joint ventures, or at least the team fielded by international firms should have majority of Ghanaian professionals, staff being Ghanaian registered engineers. There are I want to make it 3 because I want to add my own. There are 3 of the flagship initiatives of this government where we will need engineers for successful implementation. And here we go. These are 1 district, 1 factory, 1 village, 1 dam, and the development of railways across the country. and up with sister countries in West Africa. I mean, that is the 3rd one. I'm sure that probably will end up being the major one. The necessary technical know-how will be necessary both in the implementation phase and when these initiatives become operational. I would like to throw a challenge to the Ghana Institute of Engineering. There is a big anomaly in Ghana where people talk about lack of maintenance culture. I want to charge you to get your members working on various projects to push measures which will ensure all factories, together with their machines and other equipments, are functional to their design life and beyond. We are happy to note that women in engineering are celebrating their 20th anniversary this year. This government has been promoting the participation of women to the highest level. The Chief of Staff in the Office of the President is a woman. We have the highest percentage of women appointed as chief executives in district assemblies across the nation. The number of women appointed as ministers and onto boards of state institutions is among the highest this nation has ever seen. We will be working with the Ghana Institute of Engineering and women in engineering in particular to promote science, technology, engineering, mathematics at all levels, and especially to demystify the fears people have of maths, especially at the basic level. We acknowledge that having all our women involved in the highest level has a major positive impact on our development as a country, especially since women consist of more than 50% of our population. We have been updated on the legislative instrument which the Ghana Institute of Engineering has supported government to get drafted with support from BUSAC. I will work together with the Minister for Works and Housing to ensure the LI is laid before Parliament before the year comes to a close. We hope your new constitution falls in line with all the requirements of the Act and the LI, which is about to be laid in Parliament to guide the activities of engineering practitioners in the country. I want to commend you for your leadership and advocacy in this